Right, good evening. Thank you very much for keeping it TV 47. It is exactly 9 p.m. East African time here in Nairobi, Kenya. A day where Harambee Stars have made Kenyans proud, topping Group A and of course heading into the quarterfinals with Madagascar. But that and more stories in this bulletin. But first, here are the highlights. The highlights. Harambee Stars thrilled fans with a dominant display in their final Group A match, clinching a quarter-final showdown with Madagascar and earning a cool 2.5 million shillings each in bonuses. Political giants UDA and ODM are ramping up their union with a high-stakes joint parliamentary group meeting on the cards. But beneath the unity, is there a deeper political play? And the government is activating emergency plans ahead of the expected heavy rains and potential flooding, following warnings from the Kenya Meteorological Department. All right, thank you very much for joining. My name is Sheilar Chelangat, and of course, my sign anchor tonight is Catherine Simaloy. We begin with the Chan Games, where the national soccer team Harambee Stars lived up to the hype in their final Group A clash, delivering a commanding performance that sealed top spot and set up a mouth-watering quarter-final against Madagascar in Kasarani.
Kenya went into their final Group A clash, determined to claim maximum points and secure the vital home advantage for the quarterfinals.
Ilikuwa ni group of death, but hiyo ilikuwa two words. I think kila mtu ameshow ako capable kucheza top level. So I think game ya Madagascar pia tuna approach with the same mentality, approach hizi games zingine.
The decisive goal not only sealed top spot in the group for Kenya, but also booked them a thrilling quarter-final showdown against Madagascar at the Moi International Sports Center Kasarani on August 22nd.
Then cut back inside, then made the pass into the path.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The players are so motivated, and I think the coming games will do the same. It's our aim to win the trophy.
Itakuwa game ngumu, lakini sisi nadhani si kama player tunachukulia kila game kama finals. Sasa tutawa underrate, lakini pia itakuwa rahisi.
Nzuki Alan for TV 47 Sports.
Thank you very much, Alan Zuki. And still on Harambee Stars, fans of the national team Harambee Stars today turned out in large numbers at the officially designated fan zone areas for the Kenya-Zambia match. This comes after the sanctions set by CAF to control the number of fans allowed into the Kasarani Stadium during today's match. I visited there, and here is the report. For Harambee Stars fans, the designated fan zone areas on Sunday turned into second stadiums. They gathered early, dressed in the national team jerseys and waving the Kenyan flag.
Venye tona ilikuwa imeanza tungeanza hivi. Hata hizi fine hizo ndo zingefanya kazi kitu kingine.
With patriotism, they came out to support the national team in the final group stage match against Chipolopolo of Zambia. The atmosphere electric for all who showed up.
Pongezi kwa CAF kutufunza. Hiyo ni adabu tunafunzwa. Tunaonyeshwa hii football inafaa kuwa hivi, unaona? Haifai tunatengeneza kitu then tunaharibu tena.
Tunaomba wao so that they can add for us a capacity from 27 next game. We learn from our mistake. Yes, we do a mistake Morocco game.
The designated fan zones to watch the match in Nairobi included Lucky Sama, Dandora Stadium and Uhuru Park. And when the Stars scored a goal,
Watanzania watulia kwanza. Watulia tukimalizana na hii game, watulete Argentina. Tukishamalizana na Argentina, France, alafu finali tumebeba hii kitu imeenda. Haiwezi toka Kenya.
Security in these designated match viewing areas was top-notch, with fans urged to follow procedures and avoid overcrowding.
Tukuje 100%. Mazee sisi tunataka tukuje tujaze study. Hatuwezi kuwa tunakuja hapa na study ziko empty. Unaona? Tuache tujaze study.
At least ball yetu inarudi. Yenyewe walikuwa wametuibia ball yetu, lakini CAF last time tulivunja gate, tuna apologize. Hatutarudia, moja tu tujaze study. We are sorry. Moja tu tujaze study.
It is with no doubt that today was a big blow for most of the Kenyans who were unable to watch this match in person. However, with Harambee Stars now playing the quarters fixtures here in Kasarani, the question remains to be, will CAF amend their sanctions? Sheilar, Chelangat for TV47 at the Kasarani Stadium, Nairobi. And to matters politics, President William Ruto last week hinted at a possible parliamentary group meeting between his party UDA and Raila Odinga's ODM party. Now, the parliamentary meeting, which would be a first between the two parties since Ruto and Odinga entered into an MOU, has been touted as one which cements their resolve to work together beyond the 2027 general elections. Equally, talk has been rife over the possibility of the meeting being used to oust or read the Riot Act to rebel ODM MPs, including Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, who has remained opposed to the Ruto-Raila pact. Sydney Chazima spoke to political commentators on the possible outcomes of this meeting, and here now is that story.
First things first, we'll delve into the issues of the day. Recently, when William was speaking in Migori, I presume, he said that
Jumatatu tunakutana na wabunge wa broad-based, wabunge wa ODM na wabunge wa Kenya Kwanza, ndio tukubaliane vile hiyo kazi itaendelea mbele, tuunganishe Kenya na Kenya iweze kwenda mbele.
What do you make of this, first of all, from the facial value? What do you make of this?
From the face value, we can see a lot of deepening of the political relationship between UDA and ODM.
They are working together. All pretext has been thrown out of the window. Now they are coming up in the open, saying, look here, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we are working together. There's no more room for pretending.
Because of the coming together under this broad-based government, because of the Honorable Raila Odinga.
And this event reminds me of, I think, between 2013 and 2017, there was URP and TNA. And this was a time now when the members of parliament were meeting in State House, and it culminated into the grand Jubilee Party.
What do you believe are the possible issues that are going to be discussed in this meeting?
One of the possible issues that is going to be discussed is the possibility of ODM and UDA having a coalition party.
The naysayers give us space, give us room, and judge us in 2027. And we've said this is going to remain in place up to 2027.
And most of the time when there's this kind of meeting, there are usually some discussions, internal discussions about changes in leadership, party leadership, parliamentary leadership. And most of the time it's positive for some, but for some there are ramifications. At this current point of time, there is one name that is really making the headlines in terms of opposing what is going on between Ruto and Raila, and that is the Secretary General of ODM.
The very people who ascended to power on the back of a slogan, they were running around just saying hustler. Nobody ever understood what hustler means. Those same people are saying we cannot do the very same and go on a slogan. One word. Say it yourself.
There's a possibility they are going to get rid of him.
Yes, and it is not strange.
And I think they might want to use that PG, that joint PG, to tame the rebels.
This meeting reminds us of June 2020, when the cracks in Jubilee were now becoming more clearer, and President Uhuru, together with former President Uhuru, together with Murathe, called for a Jubilee PG at KICC. And it took only 15 minutes, and Aden Duale, the majority leader, was ousted from his position. So even the upcoming PG between ODM and UDA, it is a meeting that is going to give direction on members of parliament and senators who are not towing the line.
Hiyo ni kama hiyo ngurumo ya chura. Ngurumo ya chura haizui ng'ombe kunywa maji. Ng'ombe itakunywa maji.
You can imagine the kind of situation Sifuna will find himself in. I think they want to bring this thing to closure. They want ODM going forward to speak with one voice.
We will be able to move beyond 2027. I'm confident we will move beyond 2027.
Speaking of which, the agreement between the two parties, there has been talk of ODM providing a deputy for 2027.
Rais atapata nafasi ya kuwa mkuu wa viongozi.
Who are these possibilities, and how does this augur in the national politics?
Yes, there are potential candidates in ODM.
Na sasa Mheshimiwa Rais atakata utepe.
Of late we've seen a lot of activities going to Homa Bay, and a lot of profile being given to Gladys Wanga. I believe it is not in vain. Why not Kakamega Governor? Why not Anyang' Nyong'o? Why not Siaya Governor Orengo? Why not Mombasa Governor? It's also ODM. The intentional profiling of Homa Bay as a county with endless potential, and Wanga as a worker, it might be predicting something.
You see, this is what many people are saying, that Gladys Wanga is most likely going to be the running mate to William Ruto in 2027. They cite the cooperation with Raila Odinga and by extension the Luo people. They also cite the fact that the mountain is gone and the Kindiki is too weak to save Ruto in the mountain.
Kune wale wanasema tutoke ndani ya broad base. Nyinyi mnasema nini?
That could as well be the case, but as to whether that can replace the mountain vote, I've always said no. You cannot replace a sure bet like the Mount Kenya with a weak bet like the Luo vote. I doubt that Raila can transfer beyond the Luo vote, that he can transfer the Western Mlembe vote, the Kamba vote which he had, the coastal vote which he had. I doubt that he can transfer that to William Ruto.
That song depicts clearly.
Finally, how formidable is this ticket going to be, the ticket between UDA and ODM?
If the voter dynamics remain the same for the past maybe 3 years, 3 elections, I think this is a very strong ticket.
Raila is a tough politician in his own right. Ruto is a tough campaigner and a tough politician. So on that basis alone, the Raila-Ruto side is a formidable side. And that's why I keep advising the opposition. If you think Ruto is finished merely because everybody is singing one term, you got another thing coming, as Americans would put it.
The opposition has a lot to worry about. People say that Raila cannot be a king, but he can be a kingmaker.
Password ya leadership iko na Raila Amolo Odinga. Password iko na Musalia Mudavadi. Password iko na Hassan William Samoei Ruto.
The numbers may not be on their side as we look at them, using the lenses we are using now, where the country is one term.
Nobody should try to threaten us. We are Kenyans, like you are Kenyans.
But I'm telling you, politics is not sloganeering. Politics is a question of, even when you have people behind you, you must move to harness those numbers. If there is anger against the government, against Ruto, against Raila Odinga, you must translate that anger into votes.
When that time comes, we will face Kenyans squarely and tell Kenyans, this is why we did ABCD, this is where we want to go. Utasema yako, tutasema yetu. Tuone Wakenya watamini nani.
So it is high time that if the opposition wants to clinch power in 2027, they have to check Raila. Raila is the opponent, even if Ruto is the one on the ballot.
And a section of Nyandarua County has been plunged into grief and sorrow after residents of Thaba and Kiambururu villages were forced to transport the body of their loved one on a tractor. The reason? Roads so dilapidated that even a local's man's final journey cannot be accorded dignity. Peter Onsare reports.
The final journey of James Maina turned into both grief and humiliation as impassable roads forced residents of Nyandarua to use a tractor to carry his body to the gravesite.
Hatungeweza kuzika our dad with respect kwa sababu ya barabara. Imagine carrying our dad na tingatinga.
Tumeshuhudia mwili ukibebwa kwa tractor na kwingine kwa mikono kwa sababu barabara ziko katika hali mbaya. Badala ya kupeleka kwa heshima na kwenda kupumzisha, tunaenda tukirukisha na hata yule mtu ambaye amekufa, familia inahangaika ikiona vile mateso ambayo anapitia akienda kupumzishwa.
But it is not only in funerals that are affected. This has become the harsh reality of daily life for the people of Thaba and Kiamburu, where the roads have turned into death traps of mud and rocks. Farmers lament that their produce is rotting in fields for lack of transport to the market.
Tukienda kutetesha barabara kwa MCA, anasema hii barabara ni ya national government. Tukienda kwa national government, wanatutuma kwa county government.
Residents now feel abandoned by their leaders, who they accused of turning their backs on them after elections, despite the lofty promises made on the campaign trail.
Tuliamka vizuri tukaenda tukachaguana, but what we see ama electoral ambao wanatulipa nayo ni hii barabara.
Peter Karanja, a county roads engineer, admits the problem exists, blaming the destruction on heavy rains. He says repairs will only be possible once the weather conditions improve.
Tunawaomba kwa heshima, musikubali tuone hii shida tena.
But for these villagers forced to carry their burdens and even their dead through the mud, one haunting question lingers: how much longer must they suffer in silence? Peter Onsare for TV47, Nairobi.
And away from that, the government has activated emergency preparedness measures in anticipation of heavy rainfall and potential flooding, as forecasted by the Kenya Meteorological Department. Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs Cabinet Secretary Geoffrey Ruku has assured the public that the government is fully mobilized to respond swiftly to any emergencies arising from the anticipated downpours. Irene Chebet gives us more details.
Speaking during a church service at St. Andrew's Church in Igembe, North Meru County, CS Ruku urged the residents living in flood-prone regions, including areas along the Tana River, Nzoia River, Budalangi floodplains and Nyando River, to move to higher ground and remain alert to official safety advisories.
The county commissioners, the deputy county commissioners na viongozi wote wale wako katika maeneo yale ambao tunajua inafurika mara kwa mara katika taifa letu la Kenya, wakuwe macho, ikifanyika wayatoe habari kwa serikali ili the State Department of Special Program tukue tayari.
The CS reiterated the government's commitment to ensuring no Kenyan is left vulnerable, adding that the State Department for Special Programs is actively developing strategies to cushion communities from the anticipated impacts of the heavy rains.
Kuhakikisha kwamba kama serikali tuko tayari ili kusije kuwa na Mkenya yote ambaye atapoteza maisha yake kufuatia mafuriko na pia kupoteza moyo yake kufuatia mafuriko, kwa sababu the government of Kenya is ready, the President of the Republic of Kenya has ensured through the State Department of Special Program, we are ready in case of floods, in case of fire and disaster.
In addition to disaster preparedness, CS Ruku addressed recent unrest in Chicago town, where tension between Muguka traders from the Ameru and the Ambere communities led to looting and vandalism, calling for peace and unity to foster peaceful coexistence.
Wale wako pale Chicago, kule Mbere North, lazima tuishi kama mandugu na madada. Watu sisi zote tuko na haki ya kuhakikisha kwamba tunafanya biashara, tunamiliki mali kona yote ya taifa letu la Kenya.
As Kenya anticipates heavy rains, the public has been asked to evade the potential flooding areas throughout the country. Irene Chebet.
Thank you very much, Irene Chebet. And away from that, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has urged residents of the Rift Valley to rally behind President William Ruto in his bid for a second term in 2027, saying his two-year performance has surpassed that of his predecessors. Our reporter Juliet Kimwe with more details.
While addressing a church service in Kapsabet, Nandi County, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has said that the residents of the region need no persuasion, urging that the results of the President Ruto's leadership are already evident.
Na nyinyi kama jamii ya hapa, we are preaching to the converted. Kwa sababu nyinyi hamtaki kushurutishwa au kuambiwa enda huku, nyinyi mnajua ile njia yenye tuko na Rais Ruto.
Wetangula has further dismissed the President Ruto's critiques, describing them as self-seekers without any tangible agenda.
And remain steady. Kunaweza kuwa na mmoja wawili hapa wenye wanakunywa pombe na kupiga kelele, au hawakosi kila mahali, hata kwetu wako.
Leaders who had accompanied him, including Nandi Governor Stephen Sang, has echoed his sentiments, with Sang saying that the President Ruto has exceeded Kenya's expectation in just 2 years.
Judge him fairly by comparing what he has been able to do now and what the leaders who came before him did within the same period. Because Sahi tunaulizwa, we are being asked, why has the president not done 1, 2, 3 things like what Uhuru did in the 9th year? What Kibaki did in the 9th and 10th year is what people are asking that William should have done in 2 years.
Bungoma Senator David Wakoli said that the president's leadership is the best for Kenyans, emphasizing that it is inclusive.
Rais mara ya pili. Wakati wetu utakapofika 2032, mtatukunakuna ama mtatuambia tuende kwa ukuta?
In addition, the head of public service, Felix Kosgei, pledged that the public officers will comply with every directive issued by the National Assembly in order to effectively serve citizens.
I want to assure the speaker here ya kwamba as executive sisi tuko tayari kuhakikisha kwamba the oversight resolutions that are given by Parliament.
As political temperatures continues to rise across the country, leaders allied to government have stepped up their defense of President William Ruto's government, citing the development project he has rolled out for Kenyans. Reporting for TV47, I'm Juliet Kimwe.
And a section of Ukambani leaders allied to President William Ruto have dismissed former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's month-long U.S. tour as unproductive. The leaders urged Gachagua and his allies to manage public expectations ahead of his return next Thursday. Mwala MP Vincent Kawaya claimed that Kenyans in the U.S. had criticized Gachagwa's divisive politics and emphasized that Ruto is on track for a second term. He He also called on the Kamba community to resist opposition influence as the 2027 elections approach.
Na mnajua hata wakati mwingine miaka kidogo imepita, tulicheleweshwa na useless narratives. Mwishowe we were not even in the ballot. Na sasa hata mnaona hiyo ndio mchezo tunachezewa sasa. Mjamaa akikuja hapa anasema mtasaidia huyu kiongozi wa hapa sijui apate kiti. Lakini yeye akienda kwao anawaambia sijui jiko kupika chakula inataka mawe 3 na anataja hiyo mawe na hiyo mawe hakuna Mkamba katika hiyo mawe.
Our former deputy president, karibu sana nyumbani. Welcome back to our Kenya. Come back as a patriotism. But what you have done to this country, to go to US, because you want power, and you want power all through all the means, to go to defame our country, it will only haunt you.
Nao wamama wako pale, wengine wako na mimba, wanataka mahali ya kuzalia. Sisi Kenya ile tuko nayo wa Munyoro ni hii moja, hatuna ingine. Na tunataka kukuambia tafadhali njoo nyumbani na utafute amani katika nchi ya Kenya. Hiyo ndio tunataka.
And the Kenya Medical Association has condemned county governments that continue charging private health facilities for single business permits, despite court rulings suspending or nullifying such levies. Speaking in Mombasa during a stakeholders meeting, KMA chairperson Dr. Simon Kigundu said these levies burden already licensed hospitals. He also urged the Social Health Authority to settle all NHIF inherited debts as well as arrears owed since the authority's establishment, stating that the delays have crippled services in both public and private hospitals.
Wote na mahospitali musilipe single business permit kama mumelipa KMPDC leseni ya madaktari na leseni ya hospitali tu. Hao watu wakija muwe tumeandika kama chama cha madaktari cha KMA barua ambayo inaoneshana hamfai kulipa. Mjue ya kwamba kesi ya ya single business permit haijawahi kusikiza, lakini iko stay order. Haufai kulipa kwa sababu jaji amesema bado hajasikiza kesi. Na hapa Mombasa tunasema tena, tafadhali bwana gavana, ambia watu wako wasisumbue madaktari na mahospitali single business permit. Ni SHA ilipe madeni yake yote. SHA ilichukua madeni na pia assets kutoka NHIF.
Right, that concludes news at 9 with I, Sheilar Chelangat. Thank you very much for keeping it TV47 and of course always watching TV47. My sign anchor tonight has been Catherine Simaloy. Do have yourselves a good night. Good evening.